We need some rain, so probably that will be a nice thing. So we are here to talk to a few ladies about being in educational technology. So we'll see how that goes on. And that will be, hi from Lesotho. We appreciate you, you're here. So as we start today, I'm just grateful. My name is Irene from Emerge Africa. This is something that has been cooking for a while, and the topic has changed over time. And now we are going to start with women as educational technology leaders. So we have in the panel, the discussants will be Dr. Nomfilo Suma, who is a researcher and lecturer in educational technology at the Center for Higher and Adult Education at Stellenbosch University in South Africa. Then we have Professor Karen Ferreira Myers. I usually mix up.
You're muted, Irene.
Someone must have muted me when they start. Yeah, something happened. Yeah, so we have Professor Karen Ferreira Myers, who is the coordinator of modern language or linguistics of the Institute of Distance Education at the University of Eswatini. Then we have Dr. Nicola Pallet, who is who coordinates the efforts of the Educational Technology Unit at the Center for Higher Education Research, Teaching and Learning at Rhodes University. And we have Nodumo Lamini, who is the Director of ICT Services, Communication and Knowledge Management at the Association of African Universities, AAU Secretariat in Ghana. Now, I am not going to say more about these ladies because as we engage them, they'll be telling us more about themselves. They'll be telling us how they got into educational technology, and they'll be telling us a lot more about other things that we need to know and not be scared about educational technology. We appreciate everybody who is here. If you've just joined us, please tell us where you are coming from, where you are joining us from, the town or the country, please. We'll appreciate that. And to start us off, I think we are going to start with Nomfilo. We are going to ask you, how did you move into a career with a strong focus on the use of educational technology? I think this will be a question for all of you, and you can take it in whichever way you'd like, and you can also say something when you start, something about yourself, more than I've just said. So over to you, Nomfilo, please.
Thank you, Irene, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm hoping wherever you are, it's afternoon. And I am Nomfilo Chuma, joining you from Cape Town today. So I've been in the educational technology field for a while. It's difficult to actually decide in my mind when I can say I started at this particular point. But anyway, so in 2005, I joined Rhodes University as a lecturer in the foundation program. I was teaching computer science. And so I had a master's in computer science at that time. And when I joined, I think it was a week after I joined the university, I heard about a postgraduate diploma in higher education. And the purpose of this course, in my mind, was really to help academics learn how to teach. We're all experts in our field. I was an expert in computer science and in programming, but we don't necessarily know how to effectively plan for our lessons, how to develop the curriculum, how to develop assessments, and so on. And I saw this course as something that would empower me in that regard. So literally 1 week after I joined Rhodes University, I signed up for the course and started the lessons. I joined in February of 2005. I saw this as an opportunity really to professionalize my teaching. And what was interesting was within, I think by about the second or third week of that first course, it was a 2-year program, and we're doing one module per semester. We met once a week and then had activities that we needed to do in between, and they had set up this learning management system, the course on a learning management system. It was my first encounter with the learning management system. I didn't even know what that was, and I loved it. So I started modeling what they were doing in that course in my classes. And yeah, my students seemed to be taking to it. And I mean, it was a novel idea to me to think, okay, so I'm teaching computers, but I'm also using computers or technology to teach. So it was a very novel idea to me at that time. So that postgraduate diploma in higher education actually culminated in a teaching portfolio. And even when I look at my teaching portfolio now, almost everything that I was doing was undergirded by educational technology, because I was really taken by this idea of how to effectively innovate your teaching using technology. I had conference presentations coming out of the assignments that I did during that 2-year program. And I even had a journal paper that was published a few years later, but it was actually based on the work that I had done during that program, some innovations and so on in my reading. And what that course did for me was to actually open up not just the field of educational technology, getting to know what it is, but also research in that particular field. We had one module that was an elective, and I selected the one on ICTs for learning, obviously, because I was very excited about what we were learning and how we were learning it. And that really opened up to me a whole new world, a whole new field. And I realized that I had a very strong interest, not just in teaching about technology, but in teaching using technology. And when a job opened up in the center that Nicola is in at the moment, actually, I made the shift. I applied to become an academic or staff developer, focusing specifically on teaching with technology. So that's how I made the shift. So it started with a program that I did, qualification that I did over 2 years. It still took another 4 years after that before I made the shift, and I was using technology and innovating and researching, and I published a paper. I had a number of conference presentations around teaching with technology, and then eventually made the shift. So that's how I actually got started in that field. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Nomfulo. We appreciate that. So we go to Professor Karen. How did you move to, to educational technology? How did you get into this career?
Thanks, Irene. I think, Nompilo's story is very enlightening, and I'm sure we'll get back to that, and all the other stories we'll hear today. I think, they'll all give us a sense of, how life sometimes gets you somewhere where maybe you didn't think you'd end up. Now, mine is a little bit similar. I came to Swaziland, and I taught at a Department of Modern Languages, basically French, for many years. I was the head of department, and at some point we always had very low numbers, and the university thought, well, this is not financially viable anymore. And then they asked me, where would you like to go within the university? Because they knew I also had a degree in law, and I had a degree in English linguistics, on top of my first master's, which was in Romance languages, basically French and Spanish. And so I had said, okay, maybe I'll go to the Department of English or the Department of Law, basically wherever they need me, I'll be happy to go there. Now, I had been working together with the Institute of Distance Education for a few years, a couple of years, teaching French for them, so French at a distance, basically. And the director approached me and said, listen, I understand you're not sure yet where you're going. Why don't you come and join us? And that for me was very exciting. So I was pulled into it But then I also encountered some very lovely colleagues here who really said, maybe it's a good idea, even though you have basic knowledge, maybe it's a good idea just to go and deepen your knowledge a bit. And they had spoken about the Masters in Instructional Design and Technology, which was offered by the Open University of Malaysia. And so I enrolled with that one and finished the Masters, and really, really enjoyed the fact of being, working at my own rhythm when it suited me, when I wished to continue with something or to further something in particular. So I really love this idea of lifelong learning. And this is what I found, in the Institute of Distance Education. And that's where my, I'm going to call it a love story with educational technology started, in the sense not only of the technological side, but really the idea of designing and implementing programs, that can be taken at a distance, and now more and more, fully online. And I'm really, really enjoying that. And I think, so it was a bit by coincidence, but I've loved it ever since. The idea of also the big leaps and bounds we have taken in the last couple of months and years, working towards inclusion, diversity, and the whole idea of openness. I think that's what really attracted me. So that's my little story, Irene and colleagues. I'm looking forward to the next one.
Thank you. That's quite the story. I think most of us have quite similar stories, as you say. And I would like to go to, I'm leaving you for last, not do more, but I'll go to Nicola first. Nicola was my mentor. She made me stop fearing technology. So Nicola, it's your turn to tell us how this happened.
Oh, it happened by accident. But thinking back, I did my undergrad in digital media production, and I think they kind of didn't know what to do with me. Because I had an interest in education, but I was studying media studies and digital media production. But luckily I had a wonderful lecturer who then later became my PhD supervisor, Marion Walton. And she had worked before SILT, so Innovation, Learning and Teaching. There was, I think, the Multimedia Education Group that Tony was part of. And so that's how I kind of met Tony, was through Marion. And yeah, I was, and one of my undergraduate media production projects was sort of educational software, like a little program for kids. And yeah, I think it grew from there. I was also tutoring from probably, a head tutor from while I was doing my master's, and then still PhD. And I was using technology for my own teaching. And when I was a head tutor, I was kind of doing things that no one else, uploading lecture slides and, using a blog and that kind of thing. But I uploaded for the course because it was something that the lecturers kind of didn't want to do. So it was kind of like a accidental gap there. And then later on, I got a post as a communications officer at the Center for Extramural Studies. And I was updating their website and recording some of the lectures that were hosted at summer school. And so my knowledge about, the different kinds of educational technologies, even though I hadn't heard about educational technology as a field, and I was introduced me. I think I accidentally went that way, and I'm more interested in staff development as well. And that's how I met you, Irene, on the Facilitating Online course.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Nicola. Yes, you introduced me to something that I think has made a big difference in my life. And not more. You are in the African Union, the Association African University. Sorry, and You are in educational technology. Can you tell us how you got there? Did you start from there or you started somewhere else?
Thank you very much, Irene. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Yeah, so I think for me, things started when I decided to go to the University of Eswatini for my degree studies. Initially, when I wanted to go to the University of Eswatini, you know, because of my surname and my ancestry, I said, let me go to University of Eswatini so I can connect with my ancestors. So when I got to University of Eswatini, I wanted to do just a Bachelor of Science. Then they told me, you can't just do Bachelor of Science Mathematics, you need to choose another course. So I just said, okay, this one called Computer Science looks interesting. So I added it to my program. So at that time, it was 1988, 89, long ago. So I had no idea what I was putting in my curriculum. And I think I sort of went through the motions, did that program, and afterwards I taught for about a year. And then I got to know, I taught in Swaziland, and I taught mathematics, chemistry. I then decided to go back to Zimbabwe. There was an advertisement for a job in a bank. So I joined a bank. I went through a graduate traineeship. I think that job in the bank, that's the one which put technology into perspective. After that, I joined the railways, and it became clearer what technology could do for institutions. Then after that, I decided to join a university as part of career progression. And the university for me, I think, was the best place for growth in terms of understanding how technology could improve the functions of a university. That was Africa University in Mutare, Zimbabwe. And that's where I really got to ground my understanding of educational technology and supporting the university to align its IT vision. That's where I got to set up an educational technology department for Africa University in Zimbabwe. And then from there, I spent 10 years there. That's when I then got opportunities to work at a regional level, still trying to help universities to understand how they can use technology to improve what they do. Thank you, Irene.
Oh, that's really nice. We'll be coming to the institutions and that a little later in the discussion. Although it's 1 hour, I think it's looking like it's going to be short for us, but we'll try what we can put in. Now, before we continue, I'd like us to go to, I've shared a link to a Jamboard. I would like us to just go to the Jamboard there and just put in what educational technology means to us. If you could find the link, I can see you're joining. If you could find the link and just say, what is educational technology to you? You can pick the sticky notes, the fourth on that side of on the left hand side, and you can add your thoughts about what is educational technology to you. Is it yeah, is it the technology? Is it the people? Is it what? Tell us, please join and type in and let's see, because we all understand things in many different ways. And at this time, Anyone stuck with finding the link? I've shared it in the chat. Please come join us there. Come join. It is outside of Zoom. You can minimize the Zoom window and go to the Jamboard. Once you get there, I'll be sharing the Jamboard now, and then you can see what we are doing. Please share with us what does educational technology, what is educational technology to you? Someone says networkable technology used in support. Oh, that's really, that's nice. Yeah. Used in education, enables digital approaches to enable learning. Yeah, making learning accessible in flexible ways. Yeah. The demystification of technology used in education. Oh, wow. Yeah, I like this. Keep going, keep going. I think sometimes we tend to be stuck with just the technology part of it, and I think we need to understand how everything is interconnected when we say educational technology. I see someone is struggling there. You go to the sticky note, which is the fourth icon on the left hand side of the Jamboard, and you click on that. It will produce a small sticky note, and then you can type in and share that. Just the third thing is the sticky note. The fourth thing, sorry, the fourth square thing there in the Jamboard. That's where you find it. If you are stuck, please let me know. So thank you for that. Thank you for sharing. We see that this is we understand educational technology very differently, and it's all different to us. So as we move on in the discussion, we would like to just discuss about the experiences that you all had early in your career, and also if you faced any obstacles as you were doing this. Perhaps we'll start now with Nicola. What experiences, what are the obstacles that you faced, and especially as a woman in this career? We start with Nicola, then we go to Karen, please.
Well, I was in a contract position at UCT before I started working at Rhodes, and yeah, I was trying on different identities and thinking about, you know, what was going to suit me best. And I applied for instructional design posts, and you know, I had done a postgraduate diploma in higher education after my PhD, and I also you know, I went for a range of interviews. Just, you know, and it's very interesting to see how people in industry perceive academics and those with more of a kind of research interest as well. And yeah, it was quite fascinating. You know, the instructional design company wanted someone that they could dictate to, that they could, you know, it's just an assembly line, put out content, not going to question any of their practices. And this is not necessarily specific about being a woman. It was more, you know, what do you bring and how that is valued in different spaces. And I also applied at a sort of a learning experience design company. And I think there they wanted, they were looking for a techie. And, you know, there's sort of maleness and techiness is seen as kind of going together. And also they had an idea about an academic being, you know, sort of that you have a lot of freedom in terms of time. So that was quite interesting. So I'd say those were obstacles, but it's obstacles that I think were maybe important for me to learn about myself and where I needed to be. And yeah, it's like realizing you can take the go out of academia, but you know, the academics just follow one along. And that's kind of, you know, I realized that I belong working at a university. Yeah, and the other thing I think that is interesting, and it's not necessarily an obstacle, is very often, I have colleagues that will contact a male colleague of mine rather than me. They see him as more technically minded or savvy. Yeah, but it's also just who the person feels comfortable with. Other people might contact me first, but we also, we talk about it, which is interesting, and use that to our advantage. Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you, Nicola. We go to Karen. Some obstacles that you faced as you got into this career, or you were going on in the career?
I think, we all face obstacles at some point, and some of them have to do with our gender, other have to do with other parts of our being, I think. But my idea is really that, once you have a closed door in front of you, turn around and you'll find one that is open. And that's really how I see an obstacle. I mean, yes, there are obstacles, and there are challenges, but they come with new opportunities as well. One of the things, I mean, in an academic world, there are different types of obstacles. I mean, sometimes we don't get the promotion we think we deserve at a particular time of our life. Sometimes, it's got to do with frustration because we want to publish and it's not going like we want. There are issues with networking, I think what Nicholas said about some colleagues rather going to male colleagues than to female is definitely something that is there. I mean, I have a colleague who, despite the fact that, in an academic world, I should be, or that's the rule, I should be addressed as prof, who still calls me madam. I mean, I don't find that offensive, but then rather call me by my first name. If you want to call me something, either use the correct way of addressing, or just use me, use my first name as I really like people to do. So those are little things that might be frustrating sometimes, but I think if we see them as opportunities, I think that can take us a long way. And I think women in general have that power, have that desire to really see things as a problem that has a solution, because everything has a solution. So that's my little thing here. Thanks, Irene.
Yeah, Karen, thank you. I'm hoping that Nomphilo could share with us probably some of the things, the challenges that she faced, especially when she was going through all this and considering that this was kind of new as you got into it.
Thank you, Irene. The challenges were many, and I'll just focus on two main ones that I think affect women particularly, and I'm going to explain why, because I think in my experience and in my chatting to other women who are in the field and those who are in higher education generally, we sometimes struggle with this. The first one is that it's quite easy to just put your head down and work and do what it is that you're supposed to do. So in my case, I was supporting academics who were using educational technology, and it was very easy to just put my head down, plan my workshops, respond to requests that are sent through, and so on. And you fail to see the importance or the value of actually connecting with people or connecting with networks. And in academia, I've come to realize that that is a very important part of growing as an individual and growing as a professional in educational technology. And I really want to send out props to Tony and the rest of the Image Africa team, because without a network such as this, some of us would not have actually built the connections that we've managed to build. I had been working for a couple of years. And I was in my little secluded world of Rhodes University, where I was at that time. And I knew my colleague, there were just two of us in that unit who were holding up educational technology at Rhodes University. I think there's still two of you, Nicola, actually. And I didn't know anybody else in the field. I would go for some conferences, but it was difficult to connect with people. And I think a lot of it also has to do with personality and kind of being withdrawn, and you tend to keep to yourself and that kind of thing. For other people, it is easier to do. But that's one thing. You put your head down and you work, you are actually not going to grow as much as you would want. When you look back on in 5 years' time or in 10 years' time, you find that you haven't made the progress that you wanted to make, because networks enable so much. Okay. And I also have to give props to our ICES group, which came out of Image Africa, which has been very, very instrumental in developing me as a researcher. So that's the first thing, putting down your head and work, and failing to see the importance of actually connecting with people. The second thing that I struggled with was failing to see my own value. You rightly mentioned, Irene, that I was coming in fresh and new into the field. I had been doing this in my own teaching, but when you now have to support other people, it makes it quite, it's a very different headspace that you have to be in. And you're supporting people in all the disciplines in the university. So it doesn't always align with your own experience. And I was in a situation where I had to do a lot of reading and ask a lot of questions and that kind of thing. And I felt I was always trying to play catch up, always trying to figure out, so how do I actually handle this? Oh, this is a new problem. How do I handle this? And a lot of times, at least in my first and second years, in the first few years, I felt I was just running on panic mode. But what I came to, what I failed to realize was that in all of that time, people started to see some value in me and in what I was doing, and felt I was bringing value to the institution and to their work and so on. And I didn't have the courage to sell myself or my ideas, but people started to seek me out and to ask those questions because they could see the things that were happening in other disciplines and so on. And for me, what was the game changer in starting to see my own value as an individual in educational technology was other female leaders. It could have been male leaders, but I was just in an environment where there were quite a lot of very strong female leaders. But those female leaders saw the value in me, and they began to encourage and support me to try new things. It started with my HOD, who said to me, you need to do a PhD. Academics are not going to listen to all of those amazing ideas that you have if you don't have a PhD. And I thought, okay, I don't know if I want to do a PhD. Do I want a PhD? Am I capable? I've got 2 small children and a family and so on. But I with her encouragement and support and the time I was given in the department and so on, I was able to do that. They connected me to their own networks because I didn't know how to start building my own networks. So when we went for conferences together, they would make sure to introduce me. And when they start singing my praises, I'm thinking, what are they talking about me? Who is this? Who is this person that they're even talking about? No, okay, guys, whoa, can we just, but it was because of them. You start thinking, no, but they can't all be saying this if it's not true. Maybe there is some value in what I'm doing. And even though I'm not at Rhodes University anymore, I'm still in touch with those people and they're still building networks for me. So I'm, all right, 10 minutes, please. Okay, I'm done. Thank you. But the two things that I just wanted to mention.
That's
Sorry?
okay. Sorry,
Okay.
that was meant for something else. Sorry, but
okay.
just finished.
Okay, no, it was just 2 things. Putting your head down and working and forgetting the importance of building networks. And the second thing, failing to see your value. And I think it is easier for men to sell themselves. I see it when we're interviewing people. It's easier for them to sell themselves and talk about how amazing they are. I'm not saying they're overselling. It's just easier for them to say it. It's more difficult for women to say it. So for me, those were the difficult things. Thank you. The challenges.
Oh, thank you so much. Sorry, we are trying to do some breakout rooms, so I was,
Okay.
Anyway, thank you so much. I think one of the biggest things that I've known is that we always undersell ourselves and we underestimate our power or the knowledge that we have and the way we can motivate other people. And I'm so happy that Nomphilo, you've brought that up. That's wonderful. Nodumo, I think you are surrounded by a lot of men where you work. So and so I'm just wondering, how do you maneuver around that? What are the challenges that you have there? Just shortly, so that we can go to discuss a little bit in the breakout rooms. Yes. What are the challenges, Nodumo? Yeah.
Okay, I think I agree with the speakers that have gone before me. I've also noted in the early days of my career that I had to work twice as hard in order to prove myself, especially in a technical field. There seems to be this belief that maybe you don't know as much, you can't do as much. Something else that I noted is that as I became a supervisor, the women were bringing skills that complemented what the men or the boys in the team could do naturally. So I found that it was important to ensure there's a balance in terms of the team composition. I found the girls were very quality oriented, documentation oriented. They needed to understand what they learned, how to do it the next time. I found the boys would fix and go. But I found if we balanced the team, things worked out better. I then decided to become a mentor for both the girls and the boys, and joined networks and co-founded networks, and actually spent a lot of time encouraging the girls to be confident to take up technology. Lastly, I learned as I traveled around that the situation was not the same in all the countries. I was surprised that in Sudan, for example, the majority of the women were doing computer science, engineering, but if you go to a country like Ethiopia, it was the exact opposite. So it taught me that sometimes we can assume that in all countries we are facing the same challenge, but it's not really like that. And there are reasons around all of those issues. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think this discussion is really, really, getting very, very interesting. And I'm wondering if we can allow ourselves another about 15 minutes on after the hour. I know we had said 1 hour. I don't know, by a show of thumbs, before we go, if we need to go to the breakout rooms, so that I know that we'll still can come back and give feedback to what we do. Just a show of thumbs up that you are available for just slightly about 10 to 15 minutes after, so that we can go to breakout rooms and come back and just agree on that. Yes. So quite a number of people. Okay, I see that. So if we go to the breakout rooms and you have to leave, I will not hold it against you. So I had some help from Tony. Please, we could go to the breakout rooms, and in the breakout rooms, we will be just looking at what kinds, you know, let me do this now. We'll be looking at what, you know, the kinds of support that we need to give the new generation of women pursuing educational technology, you know, focus careers in African higher education. And this could be from women, men, changes of institutions and policies. What are those things that we need to be talking about? And Tony will be sending us to breakout rooms. So just 10 minutes, let's, in smaller groups, let's see if we have a few things that we can talk about. And when we come back, we'll see a few common things and we'll end the meeting, or we'll end the session. So Tony, are you ready with the meetings, please? Thank you for.
Absolutely. The rooms are opening right now, dear colleagues. If you find yourself stuck here, then you're welcome to stay and have the discussion in this room. But please try to get to your breakout rooms if you can.
I think I normally have trouble shifting.
Okay,
to-
Lillian, stay here then. This is fine. So you've got Lillian, we've got Jakob, we have me, we have Esther, but I don't know if Esther has any sound. Maybe Esther can hear us, I'm not sure. Esther's connecting to audio. And we've got a question that is, I'm going to pause the recording. A question that came from Irene: what kinds of support or encouragement do you think would most help the next generations of women pursuing EdTech focused careers in African higher education? Yeah. So do you have any ideas about this, Lillian? What do you think?
Probably need a minute to think through this.
Okay, take a minute.
Get other ideas.
Hello. Abiodun, we're having a discussion about the support and encouragement that the next generation of women pursuing EdTech focused careers in African higher education will need. And we're just having a little think about that, and then we'll come up with some ideas. Okay, Lillian, do you have some ideas? I think it'd be unfair for me as a man to start suggesting things before women have had a say first. What do you think, Lillian?
Yes, I think we still need, I think we still need more kind of mentorship, deliberately focus on career, encouraging more girls and more women to be involved into the tech careers, but not only be involved, but rather we also have to plan for retention, because there is us mentoring more girls to join the tech. Then along the way they drop off. So we have to plan for the retention aspect of it to make sure that when they come on board, they actually stay on board and advance to maybe from computer science courses to maybe masters in computer science or masters in telecom engineering, other than, doing computer science at a diploma or degree level, then or bachelor's level, then along the way they divert to, to something else. We've seen those who completely go to something else. So retention and more career mentorship.
Okay, when you say something else, do you mean sometimes it just means becoming housewives and just staying there? What do you think, Lillian?
Okay.
Does that mean that some women will have a very brilliant start and then get married and have children and end up staying in the home?
Yes, yes, that is one thing. And then for those, there are also those who, when they choose to advance with their career, they choose a different path, which is different from technology, meaning they change completely into maybe journalism, when someone had never done computer science, then they go for a different course. Yeah. Then there is, of course,
Thank you.
Those that, get married and.
Thank you, Lillian. Abiodun, do you have any thoughts about supporting or encouraging the next generation of women who are getting into educational technology focused careers?
Okay, thank you very much, Tony. Again, apologies for coming in late.
You're here, that's what counts.
Yes. Something that readily comes to my mind is financial support for career development. Like some would want to embark on a particular course, and looking at the cost might drop that for something more convenient, and thereby truncating the possibility of advancing in that direction. I'm not sure whether it will be right to say categorically that careers or courses in technology that are technology-based might require a bit more of financial commitment, which some women or young ladies might not have. So if it will also be part of the mentorship in a way, but another thing is maybe deliberate efforts to have, if not direct access to fund, at least pointers to where they can get some funding to support their career aspiration. I think that would help in a way. Thank you.
Thank you, Abidun. And Sadia, we've been talking about these ways to encourage the next generation of women becoming ed tech people in African higher education. What are your thoughts? You can unmute, Sadia. Okay, I'm just going to ask Sadia to unmute. Let's see if she will. Otherwise, what I'm also thinking is, what kinds of help do you need from women, from other women who are ahead of you in the career? Or what kind of help as a woman would you be able to give the next generation? Anyone who wants to have a go. Hey, Gospel O. Hello, Gospel O. We're just talking about what is needed to support the next generation of women to become educational technologists in African higher education. Yeah. Do you have any further thoughts, Abidun?
Yes, on a lighter note, I really feel that having a community where you can be a bit more relaxed and have some fun and just share ideas that is not strictly academic in a sense, but we still have some academic content. Okay, maybe I can put it this way. A way of a forum for socializing for women who are interested, maybe like a small community of practice where you not only are able to share professional ideas, but also able to relax and share ideas as women, which would help you in other areas and would definitely impact on your career. That makes you feel at home. Okay, I'm a woman, I can share other things. I can talk to these other people, not only professionally, but as a woman, and this might have a way of impacting on the other things that we'll do.
Abidun, thank you very much. You have used every second that's available most beautifully. We're all back in the room. It looks like there are a few more rejoining us. And I will, yeah, there are a couple more who are still coming back from the breakouts.
Yes.
To about 3, 4, 5, 6 more. I think some people are using the entire extra 30 seconds. So they'll be back in about 17 seconds time and the countdown continues. And then let's review, because I think there are going to be some amazing ideas that have come out of the breakouts. And I'm handing back to you, Irene. Thank you.
Yes, Tony, I think we have had quite the you know, the discussions there. Thank you so much, everybody. Yes, people are still coming back. I think we had a great discussion there. And I think, Obiadum, you are raising your hand. Would you like to say something? Or
that's an old hand.
Oh, it's it's a legend one. Okay, so it's not. I try not to say an old hand because it gets funny. Yeah, thanks, Karen, for getting the joke. So we are back from the breakout rooms. I think we need to just share the things that we've discussed, and I know because the key speakers were speaking before, I think we need to hear new voices in those rooms. And we'll start with the people who are with Tony. Just 2 things, not too long, please, because we are out of time. Just 2 things that you picked up that are really key. The room that where Tony was, it was in the main
Yep.
room. Yes, please start.
Thanks, Irene. I'll just say that the notes from the room are in the chat, and maybe Abiodun and Lillian can pick up on the things that they regard as most important.
Please take the mic.
Okay, let me start, then Abiodun can join in. One, we talked about retention of women who, after we've encouraged them to be a part of, to take up careers in tech and education, we should ensure that they are retained in this career, because we've seen many diverting either to a different career completely, or they become housewives and we lose them. That's it.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Lillian. Anything else from that group, or shall we go on to the group 1, please? Group 1.
Okay, so all right.
You'd like to speak?
Yes, please.
Okay, please go on. Yeah, just 1 point more. Yes.
Okay, well, maybe just the wrap up of the point is that there should be a pointer, or at least deliberate effort to have financial support for women who might want to embark in this area of career development. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, that's wonderful. Room 1, the people in room 1, just 2 points from one of you. I see there, Nicola, you're in room 1. I see you're saying, and we talked about practitioners, people who are responsible for application, but not often seen as authority without credentials. Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I wasn't sure if we were room 1 or what room we were, but maybe
But that's
Gabriella,
okay.
maybe Gabriella and Genevieve want to add something, but I know we spoke about practitioners looking for sort of further studying opportunities and how you often learn a lot through learning online yourself. And I shared about the Facilitating Online course and the Blended Learning Essentials MOOC. And the links are in the chat.
Oh, thank you so much. And I see Consolata, you're saying you're in room 3, but you can still go. And if you took some notes in your room, sometimes it doesn't translate over to the main rooms. You can always cut and paste them in this chat so that we can harvest from there. Consolata? Would you like to take the mic?
Nicola said what we basically talked about.
Oh, I see. Okay,
Yeah,
all right then.
I raised the desire and the need to upgrade and study more, because people in the educational sector really actually have to study to be listened to. Yeah.
Okay.
Much as you may practically know how to apply things here and there, if you don't have the papers, it's not easy for people to listen.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I see Nodimo is sharing the notes from there, but one person from there can say what stood out for them, because Nodimo will be speaking later. Anyone else, Prinaveen, Mohammed, Sindile, someone? One thing that stood out for you in that group.
Yeah, if I may come in, I think
yes.
Nodimo has captured it here. I think the main thing for me was the issue of making sure that students know that educational technology is a field. It's not under curriculum studies. It's not under any other field. It's a field on its own. And this needs universities to actually establish the field as, clearly for the students to opt for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sindile. We go to another where Karen was, your group, Karen.
Yeah, I just called my group the A team just to find out that I had misunderstood one of the colleagues' names.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe I can. I don't know if any one of them, Desua or Alice, who are still with us, would like to speak.
Okay,
Alice?
maybe I'll speak. I know I sort of jumped in the conversation a little late, but I was just telling about how my own journey was very much a self-directed journey. And there was always a feeling of being marginalized, not only just as a woman, but as a person that was using EdTech. And I didn't finish. I wanted to say that I feel like there's a need to somewhat incentivize and encourage people to get more involved in EdTech and in instructional design, and to really integrate it into what we do and keep people there. We tend to spread ourselves a little bit too thin and don't really get to realize that side of that EdTech side of ourselves, unless we're really fortunate. In many of our African institutions, you are the mathematician or the scientist who kind of uses EdTech for their students, but you don't get the recognition for it, and it's a lot of hard work. But I think that there need to be policies and incentives to keep people in that space and growing in that space, and it's happening now. It wasn't happening when I first started out.
Oh, thank you. That's fantastic. I think that's a key point there. Anyone else we've missed out in the groups? I know in my group we talked about give women space to flourish in educational technology and have more women in IT, not for show, not for quota, not to say, oh, when people come, they say, oh, there are so many women, but women who make decisions in those spaces. So that's for me in my group that caught me. So I think, have we finished all the groups? Anyone else who has one thing before
Our
we go
group,
back to the panel? Yes, Nomphilo?
Ralitza.
Yeah, thank you very much. In our group, we spoke about, of course, creating more awareness in our various contexts, and then getting into professional development by institution and also on your own, and being confident. And sometimes you do not have to wait till you are always invited. Sometimes you can also find out because you may just have something interesting that you could share. So, and also networking, looking out for a lot of these virtual conferences and listening to what is happening in the field. And that's also another nice way to learn on your own. And once you equip yourself when you are in the conversation and there is a need for something, you have something to contribute, and then you get the attention that is needed. So, and it gives you the courage to carry on. So these were some of the things we spoke about. Yeah, thank you very much. Nopulo, I don't know if you'd like to add something.
I think you covered it. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Ralitza. Karen, your hand is up.
Yes, Irene. I just wanted to add a little bit more on what we said in our group, because there was something important about busting myths. You know, we sometimes have this idea that women are not competitive. So one of our participants was saying, you know, we really need to be careful with such perceptions and such myths, because there are women who are as competitive or even more competitive than men. We just need to be careful with how we look at things, just to dig a bit deeper and not go with what we think exists. And then there was the important point of capacity building, which has been talked about, but also perhaps specific funding for women to set aside so that they can have that time and that space to further develop. That's what I wanted to add.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I think that needs to be put on the fore, that there needs to be funding that is geared towards women. Yes. So, and we appreciate you. And one parting shot from the panelists. What is that one thing that you'd like someone who is coming up or who is struggling or who is scared of education or technology? What is that one thing that you would encourage them to do? And I'll start again with Nomphilo. What would you tell your younger self or someone who is there?
Yeah, I think you phrased it better now, because I freaked out when you've asked the first time. But if I were to meet my younger self, I would tell her to have courage. It's important, number one, I already mentioned, to build networks, and sometimes you have to initiate those networks on your own. So it's important to have courage to actually do that, number one. Secondly, plan your career. And I think sometimes it's difficult for women to actually conceptualize that. Plan where you want to be in 10 or 20 years' time, and see, what do I need to do now in order to get there? Who can help me get there? Who do I need to connect with now in order to get there? People are very open. Academics are actually really very open to having you ask them. If you've got a specific question and you ask them, they're very willing to share and they're very open. But it takes courage sometimes to be able to do that and to be able to reach out and actually do that. So if I had to meet my younger self, I'll tell her to have courage, and to set those dreams and connect with people and go for it. Thanks.
Thank you. Nicola, I see Tony is describing you as fierce. I know you are fierce. So tell us, what is that one thing that you'd like people to get out of their heads as they get into this career? Nicola?
Yeah, I think sometimes we think, oh, this is just me having a crazy idea or a brainwave, or, you know, Tony often, you know, called it a bold ideas, and, you know, encouraged, you know, working when I was still at UCT, to have bold ideas. And I think it's important for, and as part of growing one's confidence, to share those bold ideas with others. And not to think, oh, you know, it's silly or it's not important. So share your bold ideas, because someone somewhere, you know, you can. Sometimes it's just a step in a discussion, and you don't know where that might lead. Yeah, I think so. That's my main one. You know, have bold ideas and share them.
Thank you, Nicola. We go to Nodumo, and then we finish with Karen. Yes. When I said that the space that you work in has a lot of men, and I know so. So what do you encourage us to do when we are surrounded by the men in our lives? Yes.
Okay. I think if I were to meet my younger self, I would say, not do more, you have what it takes. So be daring, but as you do what you are doing, not do more, don't try to be a man, because there are skills, ways of doing things that women bring to the table. Then lastly, I would say, as you are doing what you are doing, not do more, build others. Because I think I've got a lot of satisfaction from building others, from mentoring, from connecting. Yeah, so that's what I would say, Irene. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nodumo. Yes, be a woman. Don't be like a man, because we are women. Yes. And Karen, yeah.
I don't have a younger self. I'm still my younger self. No, I'm joking. I think there's lots of things we need to ensure that we have and that we build on. I'm thinking of being disciplined, so that you can, you know, take it step by step. But I'm also thinking of flexibility. I know we need to plan our careers, but we need to remain flexible enough that when something happens, we can adapt and change that direction, because we don't know what life brings. And so we need to be ready, thinking on our toes. And then that lifelong learning, that self-directedness, I think those are very, very important skills, you know, that I would like my younger self to have, to nurture and to use throughout her life.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Karen. I think we all have we always think about our younger selves, and then you say, no, I'm still me, you know. So I see where you're coming from. Nompilo, your hand is up, please speak to us.
I think there's one important thing also, as women who are usually the main caregivers in the home. And I mean, someone mentioned earlier on that we lose women because then they have children and then they don't come back to their careers, or when they come back, they have to divide their time between taking care of families and so on. And I think it's important to bring our families into our plans. So as you're planning, you plan around what you plan for your family, get buy-in for your family in terms of where you are going, and you divide your time with their understanding, because I mean, we are not our jobs. If I were to drop dead today, the institution would replace me in 2 months. They would advertise by next month, they would have someone by the following month, but my family wouldn't have me anymore, you know. And we need to remember, as we are working towards whatever goals, as we are connecting with the various communities, that we get buy-in from them and support from them in terms of our careers. And that actually helps us to move forward. So your family is not a distraction. They're actually part of your growth. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. As Karen says, yes, that's giving me goosebumps. Yes, I felt that because I think we don't take care of ourselves, and we also need to think about our mental health. Also, we need to take care of our mental health. And as we come to a close, I would like us to say, how are we feeling? Can you share with us? How I feel now is something that we always do with Tony. You share with us. How are you feeling? How are you feeling? How I feel now is, share with us in the chat, please. How I feel now as we come to a close is empowered, very important thing to say loudly, but yes. Positive and warm-hearted. Oh, yes. Happy? Yes. We got a man happy. Yes. We are doing grateful to the amazing dynamic panelists. Yes, it's wonderful, optimistic. Yes, Mohammed, I appreciate that you are here, and everybody else who is here. We are really grateful. Thank you, everyone. If you can we put on our camera so that we can wave at each other across Africa? I also learned that from a friend of mine, and then we can say bye-bye and thank you for being here. We appreciate you. We love you. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your mental health. Bring your family in your plans. That was what I got from this. Bring in the family into your plan so that it's not an afterthought. And thank you, everybody. Thank you, the panelists. I will see you again very, very soon. Enjoy your evening and bye for now. Thank you.
Thanks, Irene.
Thanks, Irene.
Bye.
Thank you, Irene.
Bye bye.
Cheers, colleagues. This was amazing.
Yes.
Bye,
This
everyone.
was nice.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Love you, Tony.
Hi, Tony. Bye, Tony.
Bye.
Oh, hi, Tony, and bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Okay.
Yes, Karen, Irene, Nompilo. Wow. What an amazing group of